Okay, this is where we're at now, and I'll explain to you what's going on in just a minute with these two rain barrels. But from the painting perspective, let me show you what I did. So last weekend I went to this rain barrel workshop, and I happened to have all this stuff here for another project for the dome, which I haven't gotten to. So what I did is, the stain I had over here that I did specifically buy for those stands that I just showed you. But I decided, since I had this, so these are just on the legs of the stand, but I decided since I had this cool stuff that I would just use this. So first I put a layer of the Kilz. Well, I guess it shows up opposite, but this stuff is really good because it's really meant to be a sealer. It's meant to like keep bugs out and stuff. So since I had that, I put that on that top part of the stands. And then I had this really pretty turquoise stuff. And if you can read backwards, you'll see that this is cabinet, door, and trim enamel. So because it's enamel, it's got a really shiny, hard surface on it that will hopefully be more resistant to scrapes and water and that sort of thing. And then I bought this Spar urethane. This was recommended to me by the people at Ace. And it's a spray. And so I was able to spray it on. And that was pretty nice instead of having to paint it on. So I definitely recommend that. This says crystal clear semi-gloss. And it's oil-based. So whatever. So anyhow, I finished painting those things, and then that smaller barrel is what I had gotten over at the workshop last weekend. But let me show you all the issues. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on here. First of all, it's a much smaller barrel, and this kit here is came with this guy, and then it came with this other thing that you were supposed to put in the side and then attach to like a downspout if you had gutters, which I do not have, as you can see. And so I said, well, forget that. So what I had done is I had salvaged these guys from the broken barrel, which I had turned into the flower planters. So I drilled those out. But unfortunately, I drilled this one a little bit too big, and when I put the weight of the hose onto this thing to connect it to the other one, it started to leak. So silicone to the rescue. So as you can see, I siliconed this one and this one. This one I'm hoping, because I had to do a double rubber seal on this thing, that it's going to be okay. Now, one of the things that I learned is that, as you can see with this barrel, it's actually pretty straight on the side. And I learned at the workshop that that's a good thing. And that when you are trying to find a barrel to use for rain barrels, you want one that's going to have a bit of a flat side so that you can get a good seal on this thing. This particular barrel is pretty thick. I want to say it's probably like 1/8 of an inch thick. And so it took a while to drill through and everything. Now they gave us paint to decorate and stuff, and you can see I tried to do some decorating, and even Rudy on his inspection is like, nope, it's not good. So all the heat from the sun just started to peel all this paint off. And I was like, well, what the heck's the point of that? So I was a little bit disappointed that so like I tried to make it a black top so that it would match the black top on this one. And I was like, well, what the heck paint did they give us? Obviously, it was not any kind of paint that would adhere to plastic or manage the elements in the sun and the wind out here. So that was super disappointing. So I'm going to go to the hardware store and just buy some spray paint and just spray it. Maybe I'll do that next year or whatever. So that was a huge bummer. But at any rate, I did silicone these guys, and you can see the reason why this is on the side is because the water that already was coming from this barrel is now at the bottom on the side. So then as I maneuvered this barrel to put it onto the stand, it still had a fair amount of water in it, and I accidentally popped this one off, and it kind of bent the plastic. The plastic on this is much thinner. It's very, very thin compared to that one. And as you can see, it's very rounded. So like the side, like the barrel, only unless you get up to this panel, the barrel is very curved. And so that does pose some problems. So if you look here, this is one that I did not put any silicone on. You can kind of see that the joint itself is flat, and then there's a gap here where the barrel curves. So I'm actually going to put some silicone around this one too, just since I've got it out. I'm just going to do the whole shebang. And so I also did the one up top as well. And as you can see, it's just been kind of a flippin' mess. Like water went everywhere. This thing popped out. It started to spew, and then I laid the thing down, and then water just, I mean, it's just been an absolute not good time. And then with this lousy paint on the bottom, it then started to scratch off onto the stand. So I'm just like, whatever, it's kind of a hot mess. What's cool about these stands and where I got them from is that the blue part is actually repurposed pallets that they use in shipping. So that was really cool. And then they just added in whatever those are, 4x4s, I guess. And I had them sitting out on my porch since last year. I haven't worked on this project, so they all cracked and split and the whole thing. So hopefully with that polyurethane spray, it'll be a little bit better since they are now sitting in a puddle. Anyhow, I'm going to try to put all this stuff back together, and then I'll show you the end. Well, first of all, the success is that there are no leaks coming out of any of those bottom spouts. So yahoo for that. And as you can see, let me step back here. I've positioned the terracotta big barrel underneath the eave where I'm hoping the water will come down. That's how I had the two barrels before. So now let's hook them up. Okay, plan C. So when I tried to hook up the hose, this guy again started to pull off. And the thing about this is that there are no threads. Now, what's possibly an advantage about this one is the fact that it is so thin, it fits within the threads. Because I did not have problems with these guys pulling out when I put the hose on before. So, with this one, I might have to hook the hose up from the top to this top. Now, the bummer about that is that means this whole thing has got to fill up before this one will start to fill, and to use that nice downspout. So instead I'll have to use that downspout instead. It is what it is. So you can see there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages to the different types of barrels. But in this case, you can see like the silicone started to just pull away and all this stuff. So it was just a bad deal. So I'm going to reseal that and then leave this barrel on the ground. It's got enough water on it, it shouldn't blow away. Thank God, hopefully God will do that for me. And then come tomorrow, once the silicone seals up a little bit better, then I'll try to attach them. But anyhow, so you can see there's a lot involved. And why am I doing this? And why do I have two barrels? I've got like 10 seconds left. Okay, so because you want to save rain that's not alkali for your gardens from your roof, and you want to have more than one barrel because there's a lot of rain that comes off the roof.